Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week, and yes, it is an Italian lineup. So I think we'll go through these briefly one by one, we'll go through them in a little bit more detail, and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right, we have a Visconti Blue Ripple, we have the Visconti St Basil, we have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest, we have a Visconti Camelot, we have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay, we have a Visconti Luxor Obelisk, we have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, we have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina. This Shiny Lines Dove is in the Shiny Lines. This is in the Shiny Circles. We have another Montegrappa, and this is the Extra 1930, and this is in the Vertical Zebra. And then we have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the Striped Zebra. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. This is a really, really nice pen from Visconti. I'm glad that I added it to my collection. I originally bought the Visconti Watermark, which I still love. And a friend, Tony in Kansas City, yes, you know who you are, he kept saying to me, you really want to get this one. You really want to get this one. And I kept putting it off. And then he bought one. And he then ratcheted it up even more and said, I really, really, really want to get one. So eventually I did add this to my collection. It is a beautiful specimen from Visconti. You can see there it says Visconti and then Ripple. Now, this is a limited edition run of 999. You can get this in a blue Ripple. You can get it in a black Ripple. I think there might even be another colour. I bought this from a Visconti distributor in Australia. He's on eBay. He goes by the name Rozmenko, Rozmenko. He has these models, and he has a bunch of others as well. He does have a lot of Italian pens, so essentially Viscontis, Montegrappas, that kind of pen. It's a beautiful overlay that you have here. It's a metallic blue with this lovely white sort of cracked ice effect. So it's not really a demonstrator. You can see a little bit of the ink there, perhaps, but you'll see here it has a number 6 size Visconti nib, and that's the older 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. You've got an ink window there, which I've locked off at the moment. It's a really, really nice pen, and can I post the cap? I can. It doesn't really post that securely. It's also a heavy pen because this is a solid silver overlay, or sterling silver, AG925. So this in itself, the overlay, the power vac knob, it's a power vac filler. This is actually quite heavy as well. The cap is quite heavy. So if you are going to post that cap, you're going to find it pretty back weighted. So it's not a pen that I will typically post the cap on. You can do if you want to, but you're going to find it a little bit back weighted when you write with that pen. Now, the next pen here is a honker large pen. This is a pen. I have the Visconti Speakeasy, which is exactly the same model with the same celluloid. You just don't have these inlays of St Basil. You also have, which you don't have on the Speakeasy, is you actually have a gemstone here. So you have a real ruby as well. This is a beautiful pen, and I have to say, when I saw this a couple of times at the London Pen Show, I want to say, I think it was when they started introducing a March Pen Show. So I saw it there. I think it was in the March of that year. I can't remember exactly what year it was. I think it was maybe 2017, 2018. And then I saw it in October, and I really wanted it, but I was umming and ahhing on whether or not I should buy just the one pen or the set. And then it came around. I thought I will buy it at February if that pen is still there, and it was sold. And but I did manage to buy it off of another seller, another vendor that had bought the set, and I will show you here. I did buy the set in the end, so I've got the fountain pen and the rollerball. So these are a really, really nice set. I do like these a lot. They are really nice pens. This is a power vac filler. Again, you've got another ink window there. It does have, I've got a little bit of crusty ink there because it's a red ink. It is a 23 cat palladium nib. Let me try and wipe that off a little bit more so you don't see the crusty ink, and maybe you get to see a little bit more of that nib. So that is the nib there. So it's a medium nib, and I have a medium in the blue ripple as well. I typically have in the past gone for medium nibs. I have been going a little bit more towards fine in 2022, but typically the majority of my Italian pens, so Viscontis, Montegrappas, typically are medium nibs. I think I might have the odd fine. I think I definitely have some fines in Visconti. In Montegrappa, I don't believe I do. Actually, there might be one in a Montegrappa. But normally it will be medium nibs because that's typically what I like. The next pen, again, it's made out of this same celluloid, which is the celluloid from the St Basil, and also the Visconti Speakeasy is this one. And this is the Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. If you don't know, chatterleyluxuries.com is a US retailer, goes to Bryant at Chatterley, goes to a lot of the US pen shows. He managed to do a deal with Coles of London, the US Visconti distributor, and also Visconti to have a bunch of pens made in this celluloid. And you'll see here, it's a 28 limited edition run. This is number 20. I believe it's now long sold out. It's a beautiful pen. It's a much thinner pen than the St Basil, and a much more comfortable writing pen in terms of, for me, in terms of girth, in terms of length as well. It is a power vac. It's a single reservoir, not a double reservoir. And you do actually have the newer 18 karat gold nibs there from Visconti. Can you post the cap on this? Yes, you can as well. It's not back weighted really, so you can post that cap. So if you are a cap poster, definitely check out something along this line. If you're interested in an Italian manufactured pen, something along the lines of the Visconti Homo sapiens, because they are very well balanced. Certainly for me, anyway. I do like the balance of the Visconti Homo sapiens. Now, this pen is a little bit of a unique pen, and a pen that I do like in my collection as well. And I love how this nib writes on it. So this is the Visconti Camelot. It's a pen that was made. I think it's got to be about 15, 20 years ago. I'd have to look it up in my pen database. But this is a beautiful chainmail pen, and I really do love this pen a lot. Plus also the nib writes extremely well. So you have a clip. It's not really what I would call a functional clip, but it works. But I wouldn't be trying to clip that into my shirt pocket. It does have an 18 karat gold. This is the older style nib. It does have a very thinner fluted section compared to the body. It is a power vac. It's a single reservoir. This chainmail is silver, sterling silver, AG925, but because it's like chain links and it's so fine, it's not that heavy compared to some pens. So for me, that's really nice. Then you have the gold vermeil, gold plating, if you don't know what vermeil is, and this is just a really, really nice pen. So get it around the right way. 979 there is a limited edition number. So I do like this pen a lot. You can't post a cap on this one. So if you're looking, I know I have a lot of people that will message me or email me on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and say, I really want to pick up the Camelot because it's such a nice pen. And you can pick them up. They are still available, usually secondhand on eBay. It will be difficult to find a brand new one. A lot of them will say new old stock when maybe technically they are not. But it is a nice pen, and I have to say I love writing with it. Now, the next pen, which again is sterling silver AG95, but it's got an aged vintage look to it, is this one. It is again another Visconti, and it is the last Templar, Jacques de Molay. So if you don't know, Jacques de Molay was the last official Templar. He was the head of the Templars, and unfortunately, like most of the Templars, had a tragic death. And this is, I'm not really into Templars or anything like that, but I do like watching a lot of medieval castle films, things like that. Or I have done in my past. So this pen actually spoke to me because of that. It's also chainmail as well. Not quite the same chainmail as you saw on the Visconti Camelot there, but it still is beautiful, beautiful. So you can see that in all of its glory. You've even got a shield there, the cross, another shield there as well. So it really is quite an exquisite pen. You even have a chalice power vac knob here as well. So that is a power vac knob. It is a single reservoir power vac filler. And if I just screw that back on again, and if I unscrew the cap, you'll see there it's got a 23 cap palladium medium nib on there. Again, I just like writing with it. Again, you can't post the cap, it's not designed to do so, but it's a beautiful, beautiful pen to write with. So I do like to write with this now and again, so I decided I would ink that one back up and be writing with it this week. The next pen here is a beautiful Urushi pen, and a lot of people don't really know that Visconti have done Urushi. They've typically made the pen, and then they sent them off to Japan and had the pens Urushi lacquered and also machiaed. So this is the Luxor Obelisk. So all of this is essentially what you will see if you look up the Luxor Obelisk, and you have the Wa symbol there as well. You've got the cross. It's a beautiful pen. It's machiae, it's Urushi. It is a power vac filler. It is a double reservoir. It's not a round pen. It is faceted there, but it does go into a rounded shape down here on the section. And it also has a 23 cap palladium medium nib there. And I'd have to say that I don't find this section really any issue in terms of holding it. I do find the threads a little bit low and the section a little bit short, but it doesn't bother me when I write with this pen. It's a beautiful pen. And again, like this clip as well, it's not really functional like the Camelot. So are you going to put it in your pocket? Probably not. I probably would not do so, but if you wanted to, you could, I guess. But it's not going to be as functional as some clips are on pens. The next pen here is the Montegrappa, and this is the Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. This was a Goulet exclusive, I want to say 2017. And I think it took about 5 months to sell out. Now, you will see if I get it up the right way, if I can get that to focus, it's 14 of 80. So there were 80 of these made for Goulet, and they sold out within about 5 months. I think Brian when I was talking to him, actually thought it was going to sell out a lot quicker. These were actually reasonably priced. I think at the time, I think they were retailing MSRP at $995 US, and I want to think that they were being sold for $850 or $800. And it is a beautiful pen, and to be honest, in comparison with other Montegrappa extra 1930s, they were all selling for about that price with celluloid. So, and this one is a little bit more coveted because it is the shiny lines as well. You do actually see Montegrappa there on the cap band, and you see a dove there as well. And there is also a dove piece on the nib as well. So, very nice. It's a number 8 size nib. It's a medium nib. With Montegrappas, you always get these ebonite feeders or feeds there. It is quite a nice size in the hand. The Montegrappa sections typically are a little bit shorter and thinner. You can post the cap, but it doesn't post over past the piston knob here. So you've got to be careful when you take it off that you don't start twisting that piston and maybe injecting ink out of the nib. So this is why I don't post a lot of my pens, because a lot of them actually are piston filler pens. So you don't really want to be turning that piston knob. The next pen I am glad that I picked up eventually is this one. It's a Montegrappa. It's a Bartolomeo Ferracina shiny circles this time. So the lines go down the pen and the circles go around the pen. This is a pen that I did pick up. It was after the London pen show, so it does have a clock there. That little black bit is a sort of solar panel, so it will recharge itself. I did pick this up after the pen show. Emmy at Penventure wanted to do a trade with one of my pens, and I really wasn't happy to do so. I'm glad I didn't, actually, because I still have the pen that he wanted to trade from my collection, and I still love that pen, so I'm glad that I didn't. But I did actually buy this from him eventually after the show. It is a beautiful stacked celluloid. I really do love this a lot. I have to say, it's a stunning pen. It is a weighty pen as well. A lot of silver. You've got a silver section. You've got, again, a number 8 size Montegrappa nib. It's a medium nib. Again, piston filling pen. I just love this pen. And I keep thinking maybe I should... I keep seeing one or two of these coming up for sale at a good price. And I keep thinking maybe I should just buy a second one. I don't normally buy multiples of the same pen, the same material. However, it's just a pen that I love. And I have to say that I am liking larger pens more recently. Well, I guess I have been for a few years now. But I am liking larger, weightier pens, and it just speaks to me. So maybe I might pick one of these up soon. And maybe in a future Currently Inked, you might see 2 of these on display. The next pen here is, again, another Montegrappa. It's an extra 1930. A lot of people say to me, how do you tell the difference between an extra 1930 and maybe, say, an extra Otto? Well, simply by the cap band. You get the Greek key band on the extra 1930 here. And also the extra 1930s are round cylindrical pens. They're not usually faceted. It's the Otto or I think they call it the Magic 8 or something. This is a beautiful pen. It's celluloid. I picked this up secondhand in this year. It is a beautiful pen, and I'd have to say, I'm just checking off camera. It's number 9 of 35. So you can get that on camera. There you go. Or is it 9? Yes, 9 of 35. I'm looking at the camera and it looks to be 7, and I'm looking at the pen and it's definitely 9. It's just the angle that I'm actually looking through the camera at, or the preview. It has a solid silver section which will tarnish over time. You can actually clean that up. And it's got a number 8 size Montegrappa nib. It's a medium nib. It's a piston filling pen. Again, you can post the cap if you want to. It's not that back weighted, but it doesn't pass post the piston filling knob. So again, it's not a pen that I typically would look to post, because you just have to be a little bit careful that you're not going to sort of push a whole load of ink out of the nib. And then the next pen, which I got about the same time actually, was this one. Again, another Montegrappa number. It's another extra 1930, and this is the Striped Zebra, and this is just a beautiful material there. You can see that just shine in all of that glory. Again, it is another extra 1930, so you can see that Greek key band there, Montegrappa, and again the 1912 there. And if I look at this again, this is number 8 of 35. So again, a very limited edition, solid silver section. Again, number 8 size, Montegrappa nib, a medium nib. It's a power vac filler as well. I just like these. That they are really, really nice pens. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well. So I think with that, let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen here is the Visconti Blue Ripple. So I think we'll do an ink swatch here. And I always find that this is, the ink that I use here is actually quite a viscous ink. So it's quite thick and does do a bit of sheen. So this is the Visconti Blue Ripple, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. It's the older 18 cat gold nibs from Visconti, and then the ink in here is diamine, and it's majestic blue. There are two inks from Diamine I have. There's Majestic and Imperial Blue. I find that this one has a little bit more, it's a little bit more darker and a little bit more sheen to it, I would say. The next pen here is the Visconti St Basil. So again, we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, this again is a wet nib, and people ask me why I have so many Viscontis, and the reason being is that I find a lot of their nibs write nice and wet. So this is the Visconti St Basil, and it is a medium, and just going to double check, it is a 23 cat palladium nib. And the ink in here is Mont Blanc, and it's Corn Poppy Red. Now, I have to say that although Corn Poppy Red has actually become my most used, my most favourite red ink, I have to say that KWZ Beefeater Red is actually also becoming my favourite red. The next pen here is, again, similar celluloid, but it's the Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, Visconti wet nibs. And people ask me, why do I like wet nibs? And simple is that when a nib is a very wet writing nib, it puts more ink down on the page, and it also prevents a lot of feedback and makes the nib just glide along the page. So this is the Visconti, and it's Chatterley Luxuries Southwest, and it is a medium, and it's a newer 18 cat gold nib from Visconti. And again, the ink in here is Mont Blanc, Corn Poppy Red, and I just like that ink. It is a nice darker ink, and it dries even darker still, but it's just an ink that I like. The next pen here is a Visconti Camelot. And we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, eagle-eyed viewers who have seen me write with this pen before on Currently Inked will know that sometimes I have a grey ink in here. So sometimes I will ink it up with Diamine Earl Grey. Typically, I find this ink, though, flows the best with it. So this is the Visconti, and it is the Camelot. And it is a medium, and double checking, it is the older 18 cat gold nib from Visconti. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc. And it is a lovely purple ink. And this is Mont Blanc Lavender Purple. And this is an ink that it has been discontinued now. Mont Blanc did bring out I think it's more lighter purple ink. I think it might be called Amethyst. And I have to say that this is the ink, Lavender Purple, that I actually prefer. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, I always have this inked up with the same ink, and it is the same ink that sometimes I put in the Camelot as well. So this is the Visconti, and it's Last Templar, and it's Jacques. I think there's a C there actually as well. De Molay. And this is a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which I think is a fitting name of ink for this pen. It is also a beautiful grey ink that I like. The next pen here is the Visconti Luxor Obelisk. So again, we'll do an ink swatch. Now, I have actually changed inks in this pen. So typically, I think I have inked it up in the past with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. I may have even put in Aqua di Spargi from Van Vistus. And there may have been another blue, maybe Blue Mare from Rohr and Klinger, perhaps. But this is the Visconti, and it's the Luxor Obelisk. And it is a medium 23 cat palladium nib. But the ink in here today is actually Visconti Turquoise, which is a beautiful, beautiful turquoise coloured ink, and an ink that I am finding that I love a lot as well. So that's a really, really good ink. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. So we'll do another ink swatch here. Now, I have to say, I do like how this nib writes. It does write quite wet. I did modify it a little bit. When I say modify, I did improve the wetness a little bit, because when I got it from Goulet, it was writing quite dry. And typically I have found that with a lot of Montegrappas. Some people say they write very wet, some people say they write very dry. My experience has mostly been maybe around 70-80% dry and 20 to 30% wet. So this is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here again is Diamine Earl Grey. But you can also see the very difference between these two greys, at least at the moment. Maybe this one will dry a little bit lighter, like the Last Templar has. But I typically find the Last Templar, when I put Diamine Earl Grey in there, it does come out a lot lighter. The next pen is a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles. So again, we'll do another ink swatch here. And again, beautiful, beautiful wet writing nib. I think this had actually been modified by Emmy to make it write wetter as well before I actually picked this one up. So this is the Montegrappa, and it's the Bartolomeo Ferracina, and it's shiny circles. And again, it's another medium, 18 karat gold nib. What I would say is that some of these Ferracinas do not actually have the clock face on them. So they may actually be missing it. And that's, I think, more of a US exclusive. I prefer it with the clock face on, to be honest. The ink in here, again, is Diamine Earl Grey. So really, depending on the pen, depending on the nib, how the nib writes, you're going to see a difference in ink colours and ink shades. So, for instance, this one on the last Templar from Visconti is quite light, but these two are quite dark. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the vertical zebra. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And I do like this pen. It's got a little bit of bounce to this nib. I do like that a lot. So this is the Montegrappa, and it's the Extra 1930, and it's the striped, actually it's a vertical, sorry, vertical zebra. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here, and I'm just trying to remember which one it is. It's Ackerman, and it's Binnenhof Blues, which is a beautiful, beautiful colour, a shade of blue. More on the purplish side, or blurple, I would say. And then the last pen inks up here is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the striped zebra. So we'll do another ink swatch here. Now, I do find that this one, a lot of Montegrappa nibs, actually, I find, the number 8 nibs, are typically quite stiff. The previous nib was quite bouncy. This one, again, is quite stiff. So this is the Montegrappa Extra 1930, and this is actually the striped zebra. And I have to say that I do like how this nib writes, even though it's not got a lot of bounce. So it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Grape. I was just actually having a look because I thought, you know what, this looks like a black ink. And I'm pretty sure I didn't ink this up with a black ink. But no, it is Diamine Grape, which does look a little bit more towards the blacker side of things. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have a Visconti Blue Ripple in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Majestic Blue. We have a Visconti St Basil in a medium 23 karat Palladium nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti, this is the Chatterley Luxuries Southwest, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Camelot in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Lavender Purple. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay in a medium 23 carat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Luxor Obelisk in a medium 23 carat palladium nib inked up with Visconti Turquoise. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove in a medium 18 carat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in the Shiny Circles in a medium 18 carat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the Vertical Zebra in a medium 18 carat gold nib inked up with Ackermann Binnenhof Blues. And then last but not least, we have the Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the Striped Zebra in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Grape. So there you have it. That's my Camelot ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.